Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. This video should be pretty fun. I was watching Jaclyn Hill's latest video where she compared doing an all matte face versus an all highlighted face on either side of her face and compared the difference. I thought that idea was so clever, and I actually commented on her video like, oh my gosh, Jaclyn, you need to do one that is cream versus powder. And then I was like, actually, I kind of want to see what that looks like. So I'm going to be creating a cream versus powder face, which means I'm going to be using all powder products on this side and all cream products on this side. I just am curious, just kind of like Jaclyn was in her video, I'm just curious to see what it does to my face, and maybe we'll see if there's a certain side that we like better. I don't know. So I've gathered my products in front of me and I'm really excited to see how this all plays out. So before we get into the video, as always, please make sure to join the family by hitting the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified every time I upload, just make sure to hit the little notification bell so that you'll get notifications when I post. And I post 3 times a week, so you don't want to miss out. So if you guys want to see the difference between an all powder face and an all cream face, then just keep watching. So I'm going to be skipping primer. I did moisturize my face today a couple hours ago. For this side of the face, the cream side, I'm going to be using the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation. I didn't want to use like a liquid foundation necessarily, just because I thought that a cream stick foundation would be more fun to play around with, and it's also more cream than a liquid, so I just thought that it would be a good idea. So I'm mixing 2 shades. I'm mixing Shell and Bisque. I probably actually don't even need this much on this side of the face because I kind of forgot that I'm only doing one side. And I'm going to just buff this out with a Sigma 3D HD Kabuki brush. I'm honestly so curious to see the end result because I feel like I haven't done a face of all cream or all powder. Like, I always mix the two, so I'm really curious to see exactly what happens when just one side is cream and just one side is powder and what that looks like. I think it'll be fun. This is one of my favorite foundations. Look at that coverage. Oh, it just looks so natural. So now that we've got our cream foundation on, I'm gonna go in with a powder foundation. This is my favorite powder foundation. It is the Bare Minerals Original Foundation. I do have another one that I've also been trying out that I really like. It's not a loose powder though, and it's from Wander Beauty, but since that one's a little bit more new to me, I thought I would just use this Bare Minerals powder. And I know a lot of you guys probably have this. I feel like most people have, or at least used to have this. So I'm just going to, oh, it's been a while since I've used this. I'm just gonna buff this onto the skin in circular motions until I get the coverage that I want, which is usually full coverage. I'm trying to build it up to be like around the same coverage as the Hourglass foundation. Just adding a little more coverage to my blemishes on the forehead here, on the cream side with the Hourglass foundation. Okay, so I feel like that's about the same amount of coverage. This is the cream side, this is the powder side. I'm gonna look up close. The cream side, to me, it looks like, at least right here, the pores are not as defined as the powder one. Around my brows as well, things started to get a little cakey with the powder foundation. But I did actually add quite a few layers because when I normally do the powder foundation to get more coverage, I do usually put like a tinted moisturizer underneath. So I did apply a little bit more than normal. The one thing I do like about the Bare Minerals foundation is it's like not super powdery. There's still that natural finish. This is definitely a lot more hydrated looking and a lot more glowy. I feel like it's starting to kind of settle in my bigger lines here, but overall it kind of gives this nice rounded effect, where this one kind of emphasized the pores and the really fine lines around my eye area, as well as the fine lines on my forehead. So that is the observation we have right now. Let's go into concealer. For this side, I'm going to go into my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, mainly just focusing this under the eye area. And then I'm going to blend that out with a sponge. I'm going to take what's left on the sponge and put that on the eyelid to conceal and cancel out redness there. I'm taking what's left on the sponge and kind of using that to conceal and highlight down the center of the face slightly. And for the powder side, I'm going to be using a Bare Minerals concealer. This one is in the shade Well Rested, and I'm just going to take that and start to apply that underneath the eye area in that same kind of triangle shape. This is actually the only product that I did not have on hand for this video, so this is my first time using a powder concealer, and I'm also applying that onto the eyelid to cancel out redness there. I'm going to take what's left on the brush and highlight the center of the powdered half of the face. It's kind of strange because this almost looks more dewy right now, like it has some light reflective pearls in that concealer than versus the Shape Tape on the cream side. Don't you agree? It's kind of interesting. Let's do brows. I cannot stand how my brows are not filled in. And I'm going to use Benefit products for each. I'm going to use the Foolproof Brow Powder for this one. And then I have the Benefit Ka-Brow in the shade 4 for the cream side. So I'm just going to quickly fill this in. Okay, so there are the brows done. It kind of doesn't really look that different. I feel like it's just preference. And I do think that longevity-wise, the gel would probably last a little bit longer. Maybe I'll wear this for a few hours and try to see how things hold up. I don't know, which one do you guys like? The cream or the powder brow? It's just a really subtle difference. I feel like the cream brow, however, does have a little more precision. This one looks a tad bit more natural, but other than that, they're pretty similar. So let's define the face. For the cream side, I'm going to go into my Charlotte Tilbury Contour Wand. This is the only cream contour product that I own, and I love this actually. So I'm just going to use this along the face, and then I'm just going to blend it into the skin. I also took a little bit of that and I'm just going to contour the sides of my nose, and also I'm going to bring it into the crease of the eye, kind of contour that. For the powder side of the face, I'm going to use a powder bronzer. This is an amazing bronzer. I absolutely love it. It's from Bare Minerals as well. It's their Invisible Bronze, and mine is in the shade Fair to Light. And I'm just going to do the same thing to this side with the bronzer. So with the cream contour, the thing that I'm noticing is I feel like I was able to get a lot more of a precise application and was able to blend it out really precisely. It could have also had to do with the tool that I used, but I feel like, again, this side is looking a lot more hydrated and rounded. This side doesn't look bad by itself, but comparing the two, the pores and fine lines are still emphasized here, and it just looks a little bit more muddy and less precise, I guess. On this side, again, that could have been the brush that I used, but still for powder products, it still is looking really luminous on this side. Right now, I just really like the plumpness and flawlessness and roundness almost of this side versus this side. So let's continue with the complexion. For the cream side, I'm going to go into a cream blush. This is from Stila. It's their Convertible Color Dual Lip and Cheek Cream in the shade Peony. I love this. I'm just going to dip my Aesthetica sponge in there, dab off the excess on my wrist so I'm not looking too clown-like, and I'm just going to start to lightly build this up on the cheeks. For the powder half of my face, I'm going to go into the Physicians Formula Butter Blush in the shade Vintage Rouge. So on the cream side, I'm noticing that it started to settle into this fine line here, the foundation at least. But for the blush, this looks really hydrated and nice over here. This also has a glow to it. I just think this one looks healthier. This one looks more plump. This one still looks healthy and has glow to it, but there's still, like, it emphasizes texture somehow. Let's do highlighter. On this side, I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light Wand. This is stunning. It's one of my favorite cream highlighters at the moment. I'm going to be dotting this on just the cheekbones and kind of in a C shape here. And I'm just going to blend this out with my finger, actually. We're going to highlight half of the nose with the cream, half of the Cupid's bow, and half of the chin, as well as a little above the brow. Oh, isn't that beautiful? I think it's so pretty. So for the powder side, I'm going to go into my Essence Pure Nude highlighter, and I'm going to place this in the same cheekbone area right here. We are also going to go down half of the nose, half of the Cupid's bow, and half of the chin. Okay, one thing that I just noticed about this side, I feel like it's a little bit more difficult to blend the powder products together than it is to blend the cream products together seamlessly. Like, I feel like this naturally, like the highlight, blush, bronzer, contour thing naturally blends into each other seamlessly, where this just kind of like doesn't as well. That's just one thing that I'm kind of noticing. So let's do the eyes really quickly. I'm going to take my Maybelline Color Tattoo 24-Hour eyeshadow in the shade Creamy Beige. This is a cream eyeshadow, and I'm just going to be taking this and putting it all over the eyelid, focusing most of the color on the lash line and then blending it upward. And I'm also taking what's left and putting that on the lower lash line. Then I'm going to take this Makeup Geek contour powder in the shade Breakup, and I'm going to apply this one all over this eye. They might be slightly different colors. I did my best to try to find the matching powder and cream shadows, but you guys get the idea. I'm just going to add kind of a mauve-y tone to try to match that a little better. It's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. Then I'm going to take like a champagne-y shimmery shade and just pop it on the middle to make like a halo eye kind of. This is also from Makeup Geek. I will link it down below. It's in my Z palette, so I don't know what it is off the top of my head right now. I'm also going to pop that in the middle of the lower lash line. And a little on the brow bone and in the inner corner while we're at it. I'm going to be taking the Revlon Color Stay Cream Shadow in the shade 705. It's a really pretty champagne. And I'll probably just use my finger for most of this. I'm going to take this shadow and I'm going to pop this in the center of the lid. And I'm going to pop a little bit on the center of the lower lash line as well. Then while we're at it, a little bit on the brow bone and a little in the inner corner. I'm going to take the powdery champagne shade and just intensify this inner corner to match the other side. So now I'm going to put mascara on for both eyes. It won't really matter. I'm just going to use my Benefit Roller Lash and I'm going to put that on the top and bottom. So for lips on the powder side, I decided to go with something a little bit more matte, like that finishes a little more powdery. So I'm going to use the Lime Crime Liquid Lipstick in the shade L. And for the cream side, I'm just going to use normal lipsticks. These are from Estee Lauder from the Pure Color Love collection. I'm going to be mixing Naked City and Strapless. So I'm not going to use a setting powder or setting spray of any sort. I'm just going to leave it like this. Let me see. You know what's so weird is a lot of it looks very similar. Yeah, I would say I love the cream concealer versus the powder for sure. It just really smoothed out the pores. Again, this side looks extremely glowy and round, like plump. It looks more filled out, where areas on this side look a little more wrinkled and a little more dull because it emphasizes the smaller textures, where on the cream side though, it does emphasize like any big smile lines, any big eye creases, or any big forehead creases. Like it emphasizes the big ones, but this one emphasizes like the little lines. For eyeshadow, I actually feel like the cream one looks a little more 3D and a little more vibrant. My only concern is if it will crease in my crease. I feel like the cream lipstick makes my lips look more full and more healthy, but I always love a good matte lipstick at the same time. I honestly feel like it might just be preference. I think off of what my face looks like right now, I would have to pick the cream side just because it looks more healthy and alive somehow. But I feel like I'm gonna wear it for a couple hours maybe and do a little wear test for you guys. Come back in and see how it wears for a couple hours. I'm really surprised at how glowy the powder side looks though. So maybe it would just depend on your preference, whether you have dry skin or oily skin. You could still get a really nice radiant look with powder and with cream. So I just zoomed you guys in a little bit more so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. If you can see the little pores here being emphasized a little more than this side, that's what I'm talking about. Again, this is the cream side. I don't know. You guys tell me, which one do you like better? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wear it around for an hour or two, and then I'll do a little check-in and we'll kind of see how things are holding up, how they're setting, if anything changes, and then we can kind of go from there. But as of now, I think I like the cream side slightly better, but I don't hate this side either. It just emphasizes different things, and I feel like it honestly just depends on your skin type, like what would work better. So I will see you guys in a couple hours. I don't have the time right now, my phone's charging, but I will do a little check-in and kind of give you guys my final thoughts. So I will see you in a minute. Okay, so it's been a couple hours. Now, I didn't do anything like vigorous or anything like that. The makeup's just kind of sunk into the skin, but let's have a look. So I do feel like both sides look nice. This side is definitely more glowy, more hydrated, more radiant. This side is also glowy, but in a different way, and I feel like it kind of piled up around my nose a little more than this side. I showed my husband as well, and he liked the cream side better than the powder side. He said that this side looked thinner, which is kind of interesting. So I think for the final verdict, I feel like I really do like the cream side better. I'm gonna really try to play around with cream products a little more, and actually, like, could you imagine doing a full face of what I did with the cream side and then just like setting the areas that crease? Like if I put a little bit of translucent powder here and maybe a little bit in the center of the forehead, I feel like it would be a gorgeous look, and maybe a little under the eyes as well. However, the Tarte Shape Tape kind of has a powdery finish. I didn't set the Tarte Shape Tape and it looks really, really nice. How's the eyeshadow? The eyeshadow actually didn't even crease that much. It hasn't been too long, but I'm really not upset about it. Yeah, the powder for sure emphasizes a lot more of the smaller texture, like pores, fine lines, some of the blemishes as well over here where the cream just really smooths over and almost fills in the pores and fills in the small lines, but it also kind of settles into the bigger creases. So that's why I feel like if you were to just powder the areas where you kind of crease a little more heavily, that this side would be gorgeous all over the face. So there you have it. I hope you guys learned a little something from seeing this experiment. I know I certainly did. There are pros and cons, I guess, to each side, but I definitely feel like the cream side is so much more youthful and radiant, and it looks so much better on my skin as well. The powder products don't look bad, just compared to each other. The cream products for me definitely were better. So I'm really excited to keep playing with more cream products because I have yet to do like a full face of cream products without using any powders, like without setting it at all. So that might be something that I want to try this week. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below which side you like, the powder or the cream. And also let me know if you like these versus type videos. I feel like it's a really great idea. Again, this was inspired by Jaclyn Hill's versus videos, but I would love to continue to create comparison videos like this. So leave some suggestions down below if you have any. Thanks again for watching, you guys. Make sure to hit the subscribe button on your way out, and I will see you all in my next video. Love you. Bye!